Good morning, Rabbi Sai. Oh, Agam Chodesh. It's almost Purim. Lili Nishmat Simi Merosirus Basmordechai. Reminding the Olam to make a siyadta today. The covered Rosh Chodesh, every Rosh Chodesh. And welcome all the Choshev guests. Shalom Aleichem. What's your name? Eli Goldschmidt. And you? Laser Bow. There's guests today are only from England, I believe. What's your name? You're not from England. Where are you from? Shalom Aleichem. You? Ephraim? From Arizona. Mid-Aliyah. When? How? Recently? 10 weeks ago. Wow, welcome. That's a lot of guts in the middle of the war. It's a whole different madriga. You're from England, right? What's your name? Ari Pines. And I saw somebody else maybe from England. What's your name? Shalom Aleichem. Shalom Aleichem. Also from England. All right. And all the other guests. Shalom Aleichem. Aryeh Schleider, also from England. Rabbi Sai at England. This is how they do it. This is the Chasana. Eli Grossness next to him, following the Shir at London Chasana this week. Both of them learning. That I don't know if we ever had. Two people sitting next to each other, learning different parts of the Shir. Huh? Speeches? It's during the speeches at the Chasana. Rabbi said this was going around on those groups, on those status groups. They spotted somebody in Lakewood on a motorcycle, it's geschmack to do the daf. And this is during the Hebrew Shir. I just want to show you how it's done over there. And oh no, there's no sound? No sound. I don't like that. But I need sound. If no sound, I could. This is all sound. For the Americans also? Okay, good. So we're going to jump into the shir, but before we go into the shir, I'm going to do something very uncomfortable. Next. I'm going to come out of my comfort zone, Rabbi Sai. And it's a huge announcement. Very exciting stuff. The covered Purim. MDY, the goal of MDY is to bring more people to Torah. One person at a time. Another person. You hear, Donnie? This is big stuff here. MDY. It used to be, for $100,000, $200,000, we went through a whole year. Now, it's creeping up to almost $2 million a year. Over a 1.5, probably close to $2 million this coming year. MMA. And I'll tell you what, we have the Koilel, we have 12 people on salary. Gemaras. All these campaigns we have. Siyumim. And now we have the Israeli Shir, which we have over 2,000 people. I would love, first of all, to see more artists. Imagine we had 2 Yoshis. 2 guys making chalent animations. More guys in the Koilel. MDY kids. That alone is like almost $60,000. So Rabbi Isai announcing the very, very first fundraiser, basically, for MDY. We would like to raise $1.5 million to push Torah, to get more and more people to learn Torah. If we have extra funds, we would get more people. We'd have a better shir. So, in the next few weeks, we're going to come out with the campaign. And basically it involves, you've seen these campaigns, it's low-level pressure. It's a lot of small monies, $54 from this guy, $100 from that guy. We also would like to figure out and identify the larger donors, those who could give 5 digits, etc. And we need the Olam to participate. We need people to take upon themselves to be ambassadors, to take upon themselves pages. Basically, you've seen it. I get from Donnie every week about 3 of these. So it's not a big deal. Another one. You send it out on your WhatsApp. Most people throw it in the trash. Some people respond. And that's how it goes. I know of a small Beis Medrash in New York who raised over $1.5 million through one of these campaigns. So I think we could do better, but we're going to go low, $1.5 million. And Bemes, with that money, for one reason, to spread Torah, to get another guy to learn Torah. So anyways, we're asking the Olam if you could help us out, take upon yourself, be an ambassador, do something. You go to charity.com/MDY. I'll show you what it looks like right now. There's a beautiful page over there. Here, let me show you. That's what you see when you go onto the page. There's 37 cities involved. There's going to be groups, 37 different groups. Each city is its own little group, own little mahalach. That being said, here we go. The Masechta is sponsored by Anonymous for the safe and speedy. Everybody's quiet, like, whoa, what just happened? It's okay. Don't take upon a page. It's Seder. There'll be other people who do it. You told me you might do it.
I don't know can't we just ask every person in the share? It's 25,000 people.
It doesn't work like that. It's a great idea. We had these.
$500.
Oh, that's way too much. If you had $500, $100, $100 is $2 million. No, not everybody gives. But the way it works is not. Let me explain to you how it works. You put it on your page, you throw it out there. Maybe your grandmother will give, maybe your mother, maybe cousins, people that are not from the shir, and it adds up. Called Prudu Mitzarefes. Besides, we can identify these guys. There are people in the shir. There are a lot of people in the shir that have a lot of money, and $10,000, $20,000 is nothing for them. But they don't realize that we need the money. So you reach out to the guy that you know. Everybody knows that rich uncle, that this, and you reach out, and B'kitzur, we will raise it, Be'ezer Hashem, and we will be able to increase production, better art, more guys in the koil, which helps the shir, meaning better jokes, not so, you know those days it's boring, the guys in koil went to sleep. Some people are never bored, and no matter what the jokes are. Yeah. You know what? This building costs us money to run. Maybe an expansion. Maybe we'll finish off the back over here, which is $150,000. But kids if we have money, we can do more things. Zokt the Heilige sponsors. The Masechta is sponsored by Anonymous for the safe and speedy return of all the hostages, the pirates of the Chodesh, Mazal Tov Ahron, Reb Eli, an entire mishpacha on the birth of Sophia. I don't know who this person is. Yishkoyach, whoever you are. Pirates of Chodesh, Nishmat, zechurya ben Moshe, Nishmat, zechurya ben Yosef. Pirates of Chodesh, Ahron Fraiman, it should be zechus to Reb Eli for continuing siyadta dishmaya and teaching Torah to Klal Yisroel. Pirates of Shavua, this is the last day. Nishmat, yuטא bas Moshe Ahron. Pirates of Shavua, Yaakov and Malka, Luxenburg. Lili Nishmat, Rochel, Gittle bas Moshe, Yecheskel ben Avram Moshe. Who is that? Luxenburg. Shalom Aleichem. He lives here? Really? Yaakov Luxenburg lives here? Okay. The Neshama should have an aliyah. This seems a little sketchy. Parnas hayoim, MNM Vatches. Is it supposed to say watches? He's from Germany. In honor of Ari Miller being Messiah Baba Kama with Reb Eli Shir, Mazal Tov. Parnas hayoim, Yoni Weiss, Lil Nishmat Malka bas Yitzchak. Parnas hayoim, brain intact, unleash your full potential, should be zoich the nachas kedusha and tremendous success in all my endeavors. The heart of the month, Anonymous for the zechus for needs of childbirth, for his daughter and a healthy baby. Okay, I bemis, seriously, I'm not into fundraising. I know it's uncomfortable, but I'll do anything to bring another person to Torah. They told me on Thursday, said, we need you to fly to America for 2 days this coming Tuesday, like in 2 days from now. I'm like, it's not going to work. We'll see. I might have to fly this week, next week, whatever it takes. Bemis, whatever it takes. Even though it's uncomfortable. Zog the Gemara. We're holding 3 lines from the bottom Daf Yud. Believe it or not, it's unbelievable. We're 10 Daf into Bava Metzia, just like that. Boom. We had a machloikis Rabbi Yochanan or Reish Lakish, whether or not a ketana, a young girl, under a bas mitzvah, does she have a chotzer? Does her chotzer, does it acquire for her? Does her hand acquire for her? Rabbi Yochanan says yes, Reish Lakish says not. And the Gemara explains, the machloikis is a chotzer yad or is a chotzer shlichus? Does a chotzer work because it's an extension of a person's hand, or is a chotzer an agent for a person. It's not his hand, but it's like an agent, works like an agent. So says the Gemara, is there anybody that says that when it comes to a woman receiving a get, let's say, in her chotzer, in her courtyard, it doesn't work from a yad, it doesn't work because it's an extension of her hand? V'tanya, yada, when the Torah says, v'kosav lo sefer krisus v'nosam biyoda, you take a get and you put it in her hand. How do you know you put it in her hand? What if you put it somewhere else, not in her physical hand? What if you put it in her courtyard, on a roof? Does it work? It says in the Torah, yeah, it has to be a hand. Yada in the yellow yada, gago, chatzera, her roof, her courtyard, karfifa. We show the karfifa, a large place where you store stuff. Minayin. How do you know it's still a get? Tamaloymar v'nosan mikol mokem. V'nosan, you give it anywhere. Says the Gemara. So you see from here that everybody holds of chotzer. This is something called chotzer, not yad. I'm sorry, chotzer is because of yad. V'nosan, because it says in the pasuk v'nosan biyoda. It has to do with the hand. Says the Gemara, get kulam le'pligi the chotzer mishim yodis rabbi. You're right. When it comes to get, a chotzer is a hand. Ki pligi le'inyam Metzia. The machlokes is, what if, like, something, Lego falls into her chotzer? Is she kained or not? A get, yes. What about a Metzia? Mar Sovei Yalfina on Metzia, we get top of Yud Aleph, Amud Aleph. Yalfina Metzia, we get. Just like when it comes to get, her chotzer, courtyard acquires it for her. So too, it acquires a lost object as well. That's Rabbi Yochanan. No, it doesn't work. Rosh Lakish says it does not work. You do not learn Metzia from a get. Now going back, remember I asked you a question. It was a great shaila. I love it. You have two children, the age of 10, standing in a box that's 4 by 4 amas, and there's a set of Lego fell out of the sky. It's a Metzia. Who acquires it with the kinyan of Dalet Amos? Dalet Amos is kaina. The Gemara says Dalet Amos is kaina. If it's not a Rosh Hashanah, it's like in a street, like we have regular streets over here, not a Rosh Hashanah street, not a busy street like in the Merkaz. Dalet Amos works. You don't even have to pick it up. Your Dalet al Dalet, your 8 feet by 8 feet, whatever is within that area becomes yours. Who is kaina? The girl or the boy? The parents? Neither of them. Yachloiku. What do we do? And the answer is, unbelievably, it's the girl. The girl is kaina. Girl has more. And here's the sugi right here. There's no question that when it comes to a young girl, since she could acquire a get with her chotzer, so certainly, not certainly, but we learn a Metzia from a get. And here the question is, what about a boy, not a girl? There's another limud. You learn a young boy from a young girl, and if she could be kaina with her chazir, so can he. Umar Savar, look at this, Aleph, Shulchan Aruch, Lo Yalfinun Kadam Miktana. A ktana in this case has more power than a katan. A girl who's 10 years old has chazir, she's Dalet Amos, she has all these things, where a katan doesn't have it. Lo Yalfinun Kadam Miktana, this is how we pass it. The Gemara says there is no machlokes Rabbi Yochanan and Rish Lakish. One was speaking about a katan, that's Rish Lakish was talking about a katan that there's no kinyan, and Rabbi Yochanan was speaking about a ktana that there is a kinyan. One was speaking about a metzia where there's no kinyan, that's Rish Lakish, and Rabbi Yochanan was speaking about a get where there is a kinyan and there's no machlokes. But even if we go with the second pshat in Rashi, that we're talking about a katan and a ktana, in other words, the ktana has kinyanim of chatzer and all these other things. A katan does not. So that's why we paskin. Katan not, ktana yes. Says the Heilige Mishnah, Gishmak stuff here. Sponsored by Moshe Cohen, the zechus, tremendous siyadta dishmaya in ruchnis and gashmis. Ra'ah a person is looking out his window and he sees people trying to catch a lame deer, a deer who's limping around. Humans can catch it. It can't run away from a human being. And where are they going? They're going right through his field.
First, it was Metzia wasn't alive. Two things. Metzia is not alive, and the deer is alive.
No, Rotzen. They're running after.
He says, and then you have Achatzi Shava, which is something which is lame.
I don't see that, but okay. I don't see it in Rashi, but Beseder. Achatzi Shavar. I didn't know you could run after something that.
They're running because they see something. They're both running after something.
So they're running. They go together. Okay, fine.
After something.
Beseder. It doesn't matter. The point is, there's a bigger chiddush in something that moves, and we'll see why. But it's something that doesn't move. Certainly, it's not moving. Achar tzvi shavar. Achar goizos. It says in the article what? Like he said. Okay.
The ratio is things that are not moving.
Okay. Rise and Rosh Metzia, things that are now, everybody agrees. He sees them trying to get a Metzia that's not moving. But it's in his field. Achar tzvi shavor, after a deer who's broken, lame, can't run. Achar gezal sheli parchu, or little chicks that can't fly yet. V'omar zachsel isadi, and he says, I want my field to acquire it. Zachsaloi. It acquires it. So let me ask you just a simple question that the Olam last night failed a little bit. Is it permitted to run through somebody's field to grab a Metzia? It's my field. Do you have permission to run through my yard to get a lame deer? No, yes. Well, doctor, why? You're allowed to go into somebody else's property?
You have to pay for the
damage? No, that not. If you're gonna damage, for sure not. That what?
It's not your reshus.
It is. It's my field. What do you mean it's not my reshus? I got it. I bought it. So the guy doesn't have reshus. The answer is you're always permitted to run through somebody's field, walk through somebody's field, because that's how Yeshua gave Eretz Yisrael to Klal Yisroel. You're allowed to go through people's fields unless he planted things there and you're ruining his field. Then you're not allowed to. But in the summertime, when it's fallow, you're allowed to go through the field.
Chutz you wouldn't be allowed to.
Chutz La'aretz probably not. But what about if the deer is fast and you can't catch it? By the way, we got to say the vart every time we say tzvi. It says tzvi. How fast could a deer run? 60 miles an hour? Well, guess what? A cheetah can run 90 miles an hour. No. A cheetah can run 67 maybe, whatever. A deer 50, 54, I don't know what it is, yeah? I forgot the numbers. But let's say 10 miles an hour less than a cheetah. So why do we say Rotzke Tzvi? Rotzke cheetah, Rotzke bardalas. Oh, so the answer is, because yes, a cheetah can run fastest. There's nothing that comes close to a cheetah. But only for a very short amount of time, less than a minute. In fact, when a cheetah catches prey, it can't even eat it, it's so tired. It sits there for minutes, huffing and puffing, and then meanwhile other animals come and take the prey away. It's a whole balagan. So the idea is to be like a tzvi, run fast, but on pace and for a long time with stamina. I was at Gary's Shiva house last night, and somebody there told me, I do 2.5 daf a day. So I said, Baruch Shekivanta. You're not supposed to do 2.5 daf a day. You're supposed to do 1 a day. Be a tzvi, 1 a day, every day, but the same amount. And then eventually you do 2,711. You do 2.5 a day. It's possible, I'm not saying everybody, but it's possible you fall, you'll end up with 100 daf, but that's it. You go with a nice pace. It always comes back to Daf Yomi.
According to Google, it only runs between 35 and 40 miles per hour.
What, a tzvi?
Yeah.
And a cheetah? Over 60 for sure. Check a cheetah. Not 80. No, I think it's 67, high 60s. Yeah. It doesn't have a very good catch rate. What is it called? The rate? The kill rate is low. Low. 75? No, your Google is broken. But if the guy's running normally right through your field, or a bird is flying, lands on your porch, my porch is kind of the bird. No, it's not kind of the bird. And I want my rishos to be zaycha in the bird, in the tzvi. It's nothing. When does your field acquire a Metzia when the owner is standing there and watching it? Ask the Gemara why. Let's qualify this. Why not? Why do you have to be there? Why can't your Rishus acquire a Metzia? We have a concept that your courtyard acquires objects without you knowing about it. So says the Gemara, you're right. Hanimili b'chotzer mishtameres. We're talking about if you have a chotzer, you have your house, you have a courtyard that has a nice wall, and somebody put something in there. I saw a shayla mamish negeh l'zmanenu. Somebody puts shalchmanas in your courtyard. You yotza, not yotza.
How did they get it in? Through the wall?
Yeah, there was a gate. They opened up the gate, put it in. They said about the Rizkarov. The Rizkarov used to say, I guess you're not supposed to take the shalchmanas, so he used to wait, and it was on the table, and he said, technically, like the Gemara says over here, you have to say a lashon that should be koina, because as we'll see also, Taisus talks about it. When you have other people in the house, they kind of ruin it. They take away from the shmira. So it's not really the Briskerov's house. The Briskerov, his wife, his kids. So if I want to help that guy be yoitza shalchmanas, I have to see it, be mishamer it, say technically. Okay. What if it's in a courtyard that's not watched? That's why over here we're talking about an open field. An open field doesn't have a gate. Then you have to watch it. You have to stand there and watch. And how do you know this idea that if it's an open field, that you have to stand there? So Rabbi said we're going into Hilchas Shikha a little bit deeper than we ever went into. Some very interesting halachas. Shikha is when you forget a bushel of wheat, a sheaf, call whatever you want, you forget one of these. Now, forgetting means, Gemara's going to say later, you passed it. What happens is you reap the wheat, and you make these bundles, you leave it there in the field for who knows how long. Then when you decide to make flour, you come and you gather these bundles. Now, if you, on the day that you're gathering them and you pass it, you go right past it, that's it, it's done, you forgot it, you give it, you let the poor people take it. Now, what if you have employees that work with you? So both of you have to forget it. You have to forget it, they have to forget it. If you forgot, it's not enough. Hey, you relied on your employees to pick it up. You have a lot of these, you're not going to do it all on your own. So you have employees. It seems like if you remember it, it doesn't really work, the shikha afterwards. But let's see how that fits in. The Sanya. He's already in the city. He already left the field. And he says, he says, I know that my workers, they forgot about it. I would think, even if he himself forgot it, I would think that it's not shikha. Even later. You forgot this bushel of wheat in the field, but only in the field you forgot it, not in the city, which right now doesn't make any sense. We're trying to prove that in the city you could also forget. If you remembered about the bushel in the field, it's shikha, and now I'm telling you a pasuk that says it's not shikha. Yeah? I would think that it's not going to be shikha, it is shikha. And what's the pasuk? V'shachachta oimer basada? Only basada v'shachachta, v'loi be'ir. You can't forget it in the city. Here's the pasuk in case the other wants to see. Ki siksar tzircha b'sadecha, v'shachachta oimer basada, you forgot the bushel, lo yisashav l'kachtoi, it's not permitted to go back to get it, like ger lo yasan almana yiyah. Okay? Says Gemara Gufa Kashya. This we just said, just a lot of words, but it says the same thing. You try to say, you thought it shouldn't be, but it is shikha. I'm have a shikha. And then what do? We bring a pasuk. You brought me a pasuk to prove something against what you just said. That only in the field it's a shikha, not in the city. And Lav, Elav hochi kamar. So this is what he wanted to say. Basada, if you're in the field, shachuach mi karab shikha, if the owner, he's the first person to forget, and then afterwards the employees forgot, that's a good shikha. Zachor, but if he knew the whole time that he has a bushel of wheat there, and then the owner forgets, Zachor, he himself remembered, then he forgot, ain't shikha, that's not considered shikha. In other words, the employees forgot first, he forgot second. My timer, the kiv in the koigaba, since the owner is there, so the Gemara wants to say over here that we see this idea that if the owner is there, if he's just standing there, his property acquires that bushel of wheat. Aval be'ir, if, right? Because at the end of the day, he remembered in the beginning. So the fact that they forgot first doesn't ruin it for him. I would think, I'm trying to stick in here just to explain it a little bit. I think that, yes, halachically, maybe he has to remember, he has to forget first. And if he remembers about it, then he says, I'm going to go back to it, it's not shikha. But perhaps, you see that he's giving it away to the anim. He forgot it there. He's giving it away. No. Because his field acquires it for him. My timer, the lesigabe, the liskilei. Aval be'ir, afilu zocher lebasef shechuach havishikra. If he left the field, he's already in the city, and he remembers, and then he forgot, it is considered shikra. My timer, the lesigabe, the liskilei. So it goes like this. Let's get a bigger one here. Can I get it bigger? Oh. All it says here in the Brisa, b'sodecha v'shachachta v'loy be'ir. So what the Gemara is saying is, only in the field, you need that the Baal Bas should remember first, before the worker, but not in the city. That even in the city, even if the workers forgot first, if he's already in the city, the shikha. Why? Because he's not there. He's not standing over his field. So the field doesn't acquire for him. If he's standing by the field acquires for him. That's how the Gemara understands. So now we see this idea that what? That you have to be standing there. That if you're not standing by the field, what's the difference? If he's in the city, ask yourself the question. If he's in the city and he forgot, who cares? His field acquired it for him. You're telling me that a field, your property acquires things for you, shloi medas, even if you're not there. You see, there is an afgemina between being there and not being there. Besada has one halacha, be'ir has another halacha. When you're in the sada, the field acquires it for you. Says Gemara Mai. Who told you to learn like that? Maybe it's exactly the opposite of what you're saying. It says, there's the only place in the world that you could forget something is in a field. If you're in the city, you cannot forget. You're making it worse. You're saying in the city it's even worse than a field. Where do you get that from? The pasuk says, if you're just going to learn pasuk, it says in pasuk, top words, this is the only place to have a shikha, to be mekayim the mitzvah of a shachachta, is in a field. So why are you telling me that in a city, if you forgot it in the city, you remembered that you had it there and then you forgot afterwards, that's even worse. You don't acquire it. Oh my God, no. There's a teretz. Says the Gemara, you can't say that. Let's see the pasuk again. Here. It says in the pasuk, if we take out those three words, and it says, I would know the same thing. You forgot a bushel of wheat in the field, what do you do with it? You should give it to the ger, almana, and the yasam. Are you allowed to take it for yourself? No. So why does the Torah say, don't go back and take it? Because to tell you that even when you're in the city, you also shouldn't go back and take it. If you forget it in the city, that's what it's coming to tell us. Says the Gemara, but that's not good. Think about it. If it would say in the pasuk, you forgot a omer, and then it would say, what would that tell us? There's a mitzvah, a mitzvah say, to give your forgotten wheat to the poor. A mitzvah. Where's the Aveira? The mitzvah is green. Lager, it's positive. Lager, you should give. Where's the negative? That's a negative, the red. To tell you that you get malchus if you go back and get imkain name a crow loy sikocheno. I don't know if you get malchus. I don't know what that lach is. Maybe it's a lav shem b'maisa. I don't know. Yeah, it's a maisa. You're taking it. You get malchus. Imkain name a crow loy sikocheno. You're right. Those 3 words are extra, but it could have said it in a different way. It could have said l'tucheno. Don't take it. Ma'ilei sasha. What does it mean? Don't go back. The rabbi shikras here. So it tells us 2 things. First of all, there's an avera. There's a lav. Second of all, if you did the forgetting in the city, you're also. Reb Eli, I see the oilam is a little like faduzzled from the sugya. We're gonna be over it in a minute. Nevertheless, I need for the Mishnah. It says here we have a nice thing here. The mitzvah of shikha here. You have a bunch of bundles, right? Sheaves. What do you guys call it? So the halacha is when he starts moving and he makes that turn, what happens to the one in the corner? The one in black ain't shikha. He's not over on shikha. Why? He didn't pass it. He made a sharp turn right before it. The first one, the first red box all the way on top of the picture, that's shikha. Why? Because he passed it. Let's see again. Here he goes. He passed that one. He left the bundle. He took it all. The one in the black box, he could come back later after he's done his whole thing. He'll come back and make a final pass over there and grab it. So it's not shikha yet. Okay. So it has to be in front of him, not in back. In front of him, you're not. It's not shikha. In back, whatever he passed is shikha. How do you know? You're over and going back. Klal. This is the rule. Anything you have to go back to, shikha. That's considered you forgot. If you don't have to go back, it's still part of your. Sometimes that's how, let's say, the tractors, when they plow a field, they'll go, and then at the end, they'll come back around on the borders. They'll come around. Doesn't mean they forgot it. If you still could get back to it, then you're not over on shikha. So, at the end of the day, I do need this pasuk of Baltashu. Omer Avashi Omakra, yes, I have another pasuk. The rabbi shikha here, the word yeah, if we go back to the pasuk, here, Lager, La Yosef Alamona, yeah, Bava Metzia, we always say something like that, that any place, it doesn't matter where you are, if you forgot, you are Mekayim the mitzvah, shikha, that becomes a matnas aniyim. V'chein Omar Ula. So we have to remember this. He's an important Amoira here. Ula says the same thing that we said before. When does your field acquire a lame deer? When you're standing right there by the field. You are standing by the field, then your field could acquire. You're not there, you're shlufen somewhere, your field doesn't acquire it. Let's remember this name also. Rabbi Abba asks Ula a bomb question from a Gewaldike Maisa. Maisa b'Reb Gamliel Uskenim show you boim basfina. The famous story of Reb Gamliel and the elders, the Gdoile Adar, Reb Akiva, Reb Yeshua, who knows, maybe Reb Tarfon was on it also. Uskenim show you boim basfina. They're coming on a ship. Omer Gamliel, oy vey, I just remembered I have a lot of fruit in my house. And I forgot to take meiser from it. Now my kids are going to come and they're going to say, our father is the Golador, Reb Gamliel, and what do you? He just left this food that doesn't have meiser? Of course he took meiser. What do I do? What do I do? So think about it. You're on a ship and you want to take meiser and you don't have any fruit with you. You hear, Lauren? You don't have the fruit. You don't have fruit. What are you going to do? I want to give meiser to a Levi. So luckily I have a Levi with me on my ship. What could I do? So he says, Omer Gamliel, Isur Shani Osalamud, Nasan Yeshua. I have a Levi here. I want to give 10% to Levi. Let's take a look again how this works. If you have produce, you give 10% to a Levi. Now, on years 3 and 6 of the Shemitah, what else do I have to give? 10% to the Ani. Meiser Ani. Here we go. years 3 and 6. So this was obviously during one of those years, 3 and 6. And Reb Gamliel was looking to give 10% to a poor person. So, says Reb Gamliel, let me give 10% to Yeshua. Says Rashi, bottom Rashi, that Reb Yeshua Bar Chananya was with him on the ship, and he's a Levi. And he brings a message to Reb Yeshua. Shalach says, Reb Yochem Megud Gadol ba'agofas dlasois, with the doors, Amar Le Chazar B'cha, go back. Shatam Menam Shoyarim. You're a Levi. You're a singer. Vani Menam Shoyarim. I'm a gatekeeper. Umeshoyer Shashir, and somebody that's supposed to be singing does work with the gate. B'misa. So you see that he was a Levi. You could also learn from Rashi, not that stark, but that every human being has a tafkid. Every person has something that they're good at. Some people are writers. Some people are clowns. Whatever they are, but whatever your job is, whatever you're good at, you take that and you go with it. And if you try to do something else, you chayiv misa, so to speak. Not really, but you're a singer, you have a good voice, use it. That's what you're supposed to do. You're a carpenter, you do it. You do stenders for Shimi Leafman. That's your job. Don't mix up doors and singing. Misa. Says the Gemara. And its place where I'm giving you the 10% meiser to you, Rabbi Yeshua, in my house, in my dining room, in the left corner where that fruit is sitting, that is yours. Here, give me $1. I used to make millions like that when I was a caterer. I was like, I tell the chassan, you sure you own the Cheder Yichud? You sure you don't want to rent it from me? I used to pretend I owned the building, and I used to take the rent. It's gewaldig. I used to make $1 every chassan. It was amazing. I did own the building. I was a partner. I think I'm a zeh. Never got anything out of it, but whatever. One day. There's an interesting Meritz Chayus.
in Florida.
What about it?
You also don't get anything.
No, my son gets. That's good enough for me. In Agada, right? And everybody wants a good Agada. Talking about Agadas, you should buy one from Noam. Exodus of the Mind. Sponsored. That's the sponsor for the turning of the daf. So it says, Ma'aser Reb Elazar Zion and Reb Elazar ben Azariah and Reb Tarfon Shoyim Sum Bnei Brak. How did they get to Bnei Brak? The question is that Reb Elazar is the opinion that you're not allowed to leave your house for Yontif. You can't go to Uman for Yontif. So you have to be with your mishpacha. So no, you take your own mishpacha with you. So how did Reb Elazar end up with the Chachamim without his family? So they want a taina that it's this story right over here. That they were on a ship and they finally docked at the port. The port in those days was in Yafo. So the closest place, the closest house of the Tanoim to Yafo was Reb Kiva's house in Bnei Brak. And that's why they ended up over there without the mishpacha. But it's based on this story. They bring this as a maisa. Okay? I'm not going to say the Bnei Brak joke. Only those who know about Bnei Brak and they come to me after shir, it's not a nice joke. Oh, the sponsor. The rest of the sponsors. Innovations LLC and honor my uncle Rebbe Chanan Pressman as a zechus for Akiva Simcha ben Feiga and a zechus for the Haggadah, Exodus of the Minds, to be the bestseller. Ner Talmud of Baltimore, MD, in honor official and Simcha Gross. Thanks to them, 137 people learned over 16,000 daf of Gemara and over 720,000 minutes. And Messiah and Baba, Kama with MDY. Now I have another 10%. When I'm done with that 10%, I have to give it to a poor person. What do I do? Reb Akiva was one of the wealthiest people. He's very, very wealthy. He didn't need the money, but he's in charge of the poor. So I'm giving you the Gabbai Tzedakah 10% in my dining room, at home, in Bavel somewhere. Maybe it's Eretz Yisrael. I don't know. In my dining room, you get a piece. In my dining room. Also, you rent from me what? Oh. So, what are you asking? That it was in his house. Okay, so Taisus asked that question. Taisus asked, but it was in Reb Gamliel's house. So that's where Taisus says that because there's other Bnei Bayis there, it becomes a Chazal She'enim Mishtameres. You had a. Okay, so says the Gemara. Whoa! They're on a boat. They're not watching it. So how does this chatzah work? They need to be there. So you see from here, ask Reb Abba to Ula, you see from here, you don't have to stand by the side of your field. Listen to this answer. Ula tells Reb Abba, it seems like you don't know how to learn. You never learned in your life. End the conversation. Doesn't tell him why. What you just said is such amaratzis, you don't even deserve an answer. Okay? So yesterday, I wanted to see how much, is it like, so I brought two children here, one of the 13-year-old and a 15, 16-year-old, maybe more, YY, and Zalman Tzvi. He's 14 already. Oh, wow, they grow up quick. 14. So I tried to make the story better, you made it worse. Okay, fine. He's 11. He's 14. I said, how would you do it? How would you make this kinyan if it was you? Based on everything you learned in Daf Yomi. So they wrote down on a piece of paper, I told them they're not allowed to say anything, and they're not allowed to this. They both wrote down kinyan chalipin and sudar. Interesting, because the Gemara is going to talk about it. And then Zalman Tzvi said, kinyan agav. Kinyan agav. 14-year-old. When I was 14, when I was 40, I didn't know what the agav was. Okay, so he said agav.
He's been davening since he was 9.
I know, he's davening since he's 9, and it pays off. 2 years already. Reb Abba is not happy about this. He got a nice shtach that he doesn't know how to learn. He comes to Surah. He says, listen, what happened? Ula said this. I asked him a kasha. It doesn't say that he yelled at me. Okay. You didn't understand what happened there. He wasn't renting it. He sold them a piece of his dining room. When you sell somebody a dining room, a little piece, it could be the size of a needle. Sell you a piece of my dining room for $1. And once you acquire that, you acquire the fruit. That's it. It works on agav. So you don't have to stand there. Well, what's he proving? Rabbi is saying, oh, you see, you don't have to stand. Of course you don't have to stand. It's kinyan agav. It's not kinyan chotzer. You, Rabbi, thought he's talking about kinyan chotzer, that his dining room will acquire it for you. You rented his dining room is going to acquire, do a kinyan chotzer. No, it's kinyan agav. Once you acquire the field, you could acquire any metaltalin in the world, anywhere in the world. You don't have to be there. You definitely don't have to stand there. Huh? Why?
Because when you have maestros that are sitting there, nobody knows.
Yeah, but no, okay, so they discuss it because Reb Gamliel was certain that they're not going to eat all the food. There's 500 pounds of food there. So whatever it is, at the end of the day, you just go to the end and you do breira and you say, this is what I put on the side. Reb Zera said, that's a great idea, great teretz. Reb Abba loy kabla. Certainly Reb Abba was insulted here. He didn't accept this. It's not stam that he was biased and he didn't accept it. He has a good reason not to accept this svara. He says like this. Why? How come they didn't do Zalman Tzvi, who's 14 years old, in a generation 1,500 years later? He came up with the idea of chalipin. What, Rebbe Gamliel couldn't come up with the idea of chalipin? Why came up with it? Why didn't he? The answer is it doesn't work. Why not? Beautiful. That what? This meiser that he has, is it worth anything? Is it something you could sell? No. The only value that it has for Gamliel is he could decide, I want to give it to Gershom ben Moshe the Levi, or no, I want to give it to Nachman, Reb Nachman sell it to the Levi. That's it. But it has no value. And once it has no value, you can't use chalipin. Chalipin is a kinyan that you buy things, you purchase things. I give you my yarmulke, Rabbi Yeshua, and you acquire my meiser. It's not my meiser. I'm obligated to give it regardless, whether I like it or not. I have to give it to Levi. I can decide which Levi. It has no value. Chalipin doesn't work here. So agav doesn't either work. Says the Gemara, not true. Not true. The reason why Ula did like this is because you're wrong, Rava. Velahi. The Gemara says straight out, Velahi, that it seems like Rava is wrong. You're right. You cannot do chalipin when it comes to. You're right, Rava. Why did Reb Gamliel use chalipin? Because of Rav's svara. That's great. Chalipin does not work to give trumas and maisros. But the part that you're wrong about is the agav. Chalipin derech mekachum emkaru. Metadlin agav mekarka nesina limtei. When I sell you a piece of land the size of a needle for $10 and you acquire that, the reason why you acquire the metaltalin is not because it's a kinyan, it's an asina. I'm giving you the metaltalin because of the karka. Agav. How do you say agav in English? Huh? On account of. On account of. That would be good. On account of. Like that. So it's a giving. It's not a kinyan. It's not a kinyan like chalipin. It's giving the metaltalin. Says the Gemara. The way it works here, Reb Gamliel gave his fruit to Rabbi Shua and Rabbi Akiva. There's another mind over here. When I want, we're talking, what's our sugya? We have a lame deer worth hundreds of dollars. It's venison, it's good stuff. It's walking through my field. I want my field to acquire this deer without me even being there, without me even knowing about it. Without anybody putting it in there. The deer came by itself. That's different. For that, I need to stand by the field and watch over the field. I have to be shomer the field. But over here on the ship, Reb Gamliel has das. He's saying, I want you to acquire my fruit. I'm here. I'm giving it to you. That das acheres magnoizim shani. That's why it works. Don't bring me a raya from the ship when there's two parties involved and they both want to be kainat. One wants to be makna, one wants to be kaina. That works. Versus our sugya, where you have to stand there because nobody's makna to you. You just want to be kaina, so you have to stand there and be there. And how do I know this? How do you know that that's a good distinction? It's not you see in our Mishnah that a guy saw them running after the deer. Your field only works to acquire it as if you yourself could run and catch it on your own. Does this same rule apply to gift? Let's say I give you a gift. I give you a lame deer. I put a turtle in your backyard. I say, here's a gift for your kids for Purim. And it's moving. The turtle moves. Eventually after 5-6 hours, it's going to be gone. Did your field acquire it? Yes or no? A gift. Do I have to be able to catch it? Able to catch it. And Kabbalah Rebbe Abba Bar Kahana, and he accepted this halacha that what? A gift is different than a metzia. We have to make a distinction between a metzia and a gift. What's the distinction? Exactly what we're talking about. When it comes to metzia, finding something, there's nobody there. It's a find. So I don't have somebody giving it to me. By the turtle, somebody's giving me the turtle. He's saying, take this turtle. I want you to acquire it. So my field acquires it even though I'm not there. So you make this distinction when you have another mind, another conscious, what's a das? Another human being that says, I want you to be kind. What about, oh wow, I forgot to show agav. Here's kinyan agav. This is redone. A redone kinyan agav. Let's say a person wants to sell this washing machine and a cat to this Yerushalmi. Yerushalmi is in Yerushalayim. The cat and the washing machine is in Chicago. So what does he do? He gives that guy money and he gets the field. He gets a piece of karka. And together with the karka, he gets the washing machine wherever it is. That's agav. What else do we have here that I forgot to show? Not really this one. Stop. This is the get. This is the story of the get. So here's a chatzar. Here's a husband throwing in a get into the chatzar. So when it comes to get, that's a cheres maknoi. So you have the husband that wants to give her. He's being nice to her. Not really. He's giving her something. He's giving her a gift. Here, there's a nice letter in there. Take it. Let your chatzar acquire it. She has to be there in order for the chatzar to be koina. She has to be there. So you see that even when there's another das, another human being involved, you still have to be there. Shana get this about karcha. Get is different because she has an opposing das. So if it goes Balkarcha, I don't know if that's the Svar so much, because then it will be hard to understand the Gemara later. But it works Balkarcha, so since it works Balkarcha, she has to stand there. Says Gemara, then it's Punk Fakir. Then it's the opposite. A get that you could divorce a woman against her will. She must be there watching it. So certainly if it's against her will, so you don't really need her. Nevertheless, you need her. She has to be there. So certainly by a matana, where you don't need the person, certainly he should have to stand there. You could only give a person a gift if they agree to accept the gift. What if it's something they don't want? What if a person hates gifts? So that's worse than a get. I need his das. So certainly he has to stand there. Elomar Ravashi, just 2 more lines here. Interesting. A chotzer could operate in 2 ways. It could be a hand, an extension of a hand, and it could be an agent. By Iktana, for instance, she can't appoint. She can't appoint an agent. So she has to work with a yad. But over here we're talking about shlichus. Gabe get the chayvula, when a get, like a get, is something terrible for her. Therefore, there's no shlichus only in front of the person. That's why she has to stand there by a get. The reason why by a metzia, by a fine, you don't have to stand by the place is because it's good for him. And the chutzner works as an agent, and if it's an agent, the person has to be there. It doesn't have to be there if it's good. Rabbi Sai, have a wonderful day. We'll say a kapitel to him.